I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we dive into a wonderful book. It is called Dark Agendas of Power. It's written by a powerful author. His name is Kevin Glenn. This gripping dystopian espionage novel follows a clandestine resistance group that is fighting against a tyrannical world order. We will explore the thrilling adventures of operatives Cory, Bryson, and Amit Rubin as they battle to expose a global cabal threatening our freedoms. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Kevin, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. It's good to see you too, and thank you for having me.
My pleasure. This is a powerful book. Tell us what inspired you to write Dark Agendas of Power and delve into this dystopian world that you created.
Well, I think my principal source of inspiration was the ability of people with agendas for power to try to influence and control the world through economic policy. And that was my biggest, really my biggest inspiration, and really how I could see it actually possibly happening.
Absolutely. Give the folks at home an overview of what the book is about.
Well, essentially, a a secret cabal has formed in the shadows. And what they're trying to do is take control of the world through economic policy and economic influence. And they try to create this illusion of freedom by persuading people to vote into their economic system. However, it ends up being more than people bargained for. And there's just people out there who recognized what kind of a power play this was. So they fell back out of the public sphere and formed a resistance to try to fight against this cabal as best they could. And it ends up devolving into a shadow war that does eventually become more kinetic, or in other words, more public for people to see.
Is this rooted all in our own reality here in 2024 when you have, such deep political divisions in our country?
Absolutely. The divisions over all of our political and economic policy right now absolutely had a heavy influence on not only the inspiration for the novel, but the direction in which I wanted to take it.
Yeah. Have you envisioned it as a movie, perhaps?
Absolutely. Or a miniseries.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are there going to be more installments of this story, of this book?
There's a sequel that's already out, and then there's a third book that's already out, and then there's a prequel to the whole trilogy that is out as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's get those titles out there. What's the second installment called?
Heroes in Their Own Right.
Okay. And the third?
Breaking Point.
And the prequel?
Imminent Hour.
Sounds great. Tell us a little bit about the concept of Neo 21 and how it destabilizes the world within your story.
Absolutely. So Neo 21 in my fictional universe stands for New Economic Order 2021.
Mhm.
And it was a policy that was created by powerful people who were not elected officials at all. And a lot of what they do is they use many of the concerns going on in the world today to try to justify the economic policies that they create. But the reason why it destabilizes the world is because a lot of what they are trying to create centers around the erosion of freedom and individual rights. It also erodes the rights of different governments to self-determination, the rights to sovereignty. So, and people get upset about it. You got people in my universe that are very fanatical towards Neo 21, and you got people in my universe that are very fanatically against it. But then you've also got more moderate people that are against it and for it, but who are trying to navigate the situation as best as possible. And unfortunately, the grip of Neo 21, or the governing body that enforces the law, which is the GEU, known as the Global Economic Union, their grip on power is just too tight right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's frightening because it does, in many ways, mirror our own world. As soon as there's a crisis, it seems like our rights, our liberties, the Constitution are just thrown out the window. You don't have
Absolutely.
them anymore. You can't go to work.
Right.
It's not your body or choice. It's you have to take this vaccine.
Yep.
You have to be locked down. You can't speak out because you'll be silenced. I
Right.
mean, you've got a lot of things to work with that you only have to stretch a little bit to get to this point of break, of people like enough, you know. I want to be able to go to my church. I want to
Yeah.
be able to, go to my school. I want to be able to take this mask off. I want to, right?
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Mm.
And I try to dive into all of these topics one by one. Some of them are visited in one book, some of them are visited in the next book, but ultimately, what it is all boiling down to is how these rights are continually eroded and the problem just continues. And it was an opportunity for me to do something a little bit different in the dystopian universe.
Mm.
Whereas most dystopian novels take place decades or even centuries into the dystopia,
Mhm.
mine's kind of showing what it looks like for a dystopia to fall into place. What's that first domino that falls? And then the second, and then the third. And what does that process look like setting up the dystopia
Yeah. If you
or
ask
fall?
me, the first domino fell,
Yeah.
around 2020, you know, without a doubt. Um, Tell me a little bit about the characters of Cory Bryson and Amit Rubin, if I'm saying his name correctly.
So Amit Rubin is actually a female. She is a top secret operative for a different country. And Cory Bryson is a former SWAT squad leader who has stepped away from his job and now leads the fictional platoon known as First Platoon within the Resistance. Now, part of the reason why Lieutenant Amit Rubin has come into the picture is because the other country who she's fighting for is not on the radar of the global economic union yet. However, Cory Bryson's sector of the resistance is. And there's great concern that Cory's sector could be exploited to find out who the other country is involved. So she has stepped in to help prevent that from happening. But this ends up being somewhat irrelevant as the two of them have to go overseas and basically infiltrate the global economic union. And together they serve as an absolute powerhouse that is virtually unstoppable and is further explored later in the novels about what the GEU has to do to try to either stop them completely, or if they can't, at least separate them so that they cannot work together.
Wonderful. They are a powerful team, no doubt. Have you ever thought about what actors might portray them on the screen, big or small?
Yeah, I would love to see maybe Chris Pratt play Cory Bryson,
Cool.
and maybe I mean I go back and forth, but on Amit, um, probably Natalie Portman.
Okay. Or even a Gal Gadot.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be ecstatic if
Yeah.
she was playing Amit's part.
Yeah, absolutely. They're similar types. Gal is a little bit younger, which might work with the storyline. But yeah, great characters you've developed there. Now, you're a mental health professional, correct?
Correct.
Does that play a role in your writing at all? Does it help you in developing characters and these dystopian aspects of our society?
Absolutely. It mostly helps with the psychological character development. Some of the characters are dealing with complex mental health issues, and I'm able to portray how they're navigating those issues. Um, and it also kind of helps me understand what the overall psychological effect on society and my universe might be, which not only serves as character development, but also serves to help drive the plot forward.
Absolutely. Wonderful series of books. It's a trilogy with the prequel, so it's actually a set of four. Are more going to come? Are you thinking about expanding the trilogy? You are.
Yeah, and expanding it plus spinoffs.
Wonderful, wonderful. Looking forward to more in this engaging universe that you have developed. The name of the book we've been primarily focusing on today is called Dark Agendas of Power. It's written by Kevin Glenn. It is a gripping dystopian espionage novel that follows a clandestine resistance that is fighting against a tyrannical world order. It's an amazing book, a terrific series. Hollywood, if you're listening, this would be a great movie series or TV series as well. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Crawford. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.